little bit of breathing.
Cover up my.
Should I do it like?
All right, here we go. We got a big gang up here this morning, and the reason that we have so many up here this morning is because so many people, so many public officials are cooperating in this part of the country these days that we want to bring to your attention another level of cooperation on what I might describe in an historic sense as the third mountain. Roger Feigart was here when we did the Antelope Valley project, which was kind of our first mountain in recent history, and then we got in, of course, to the West Haymarket and the Arena project, and now we're talking about the South Beltway, and it's good to remember that this is a project on the same scale, essentially, as those two huge historic projects of a short time ago. I will introduce the folks up here presently, but I wanted you to know you will hear from Deb Shore. Deb, welcome, who is the chair currently of the Railroad Transportation Safety District, which is a joint entity involving county and city officials. And you'll hear from Roy Christensen, who is our current chair of the Lincoln City Council. And you will hear from Todd Wilkgren, who is the chair of the Lancaster County Board. And then when we open it to questions, I'm sure you can direct them to any one of those people. And we'll probably invite Mickey up here, who is our Public Works director at the appropriate point in time. She is the detail person that knows everything about this transaction. And of course, everybody else up here is welcome to pitch in and answering the questions. But we have now climbed that third mountain. The South Beltway, as many of you know, at times has seemed a distant dream. Lincoln has been talking and planning with respect to the South Beltway for over 30 years. And while both the state and the city have made steady progress on the issue, there always seems to be a new challenge that arises. We faced one of these challenges when the numbers were updated for the South Beltway's cost. The city had identified about $40 million in local funding, or 20% of the total original estimate, to match the city's $160 million investment. The new revised project estimates meant that the city would need to find another $20 million for the project to move forward under the old match requirements. Today, I stand with elected officials from the Lincoln City Council, from the Lancaster County Board, and the Railroad Transportation District to announce that we have a solution that's agreeable to everybody. We have worked closely with the state of Nebraska and the Nebraska Department of Roads to create what we believe to be a winning situation for all parties. The South Beltway is happening. The distant dream has become a reality because of the planning and the partnership between the people standing with me today and our state transportation leaders. We put our heads together and found a solution that is getting the job done. The new local funding plan is a big win for the community. Here's what's involved. The local funding match will be secured without raising taxes or delaying other important roads projects. Another point, the state of Nebraska will receive the city's $50 million contribution over the next 16 months. This prepayment helps the state move forward on a number of current highway needs. Moving forward now allows the state to save money on the cost of construction inflation. And that's why we agreed to cap the total city cost of the South Beltway to $50 million. Capping the total cost at $50 million saves the locals $10 million that would have been required under the current 20% local match agreement with the state. As a result, that $10 million can be directed to other roads projects. The deal depends on local cooperation. The city, the county, the Joint City-County Railroad Transportation District have come together and created a plan. These are the elements of the plan. $18.6 million has already been paid to the state by the city of Lincoln. An additional $11.4 million has been identified in the city's capital improvement program that can be paid to the state within the next 16 months without slowing other city projects. $13 million has already been committed by the RTSD for South Beltway Railroad crossings. The RTSD will add $7 million more to the project, completing the $50 million needed to make this deal work. By September 30th of this year, $16.4 million will be sent to the state by the city and the RTSD. The remaining $15 million will be paid by September 30th, 2018. This agreement is a great example of how government ought to work. 4 different levels of government have come together and created a winning hand for their citizens. We have found a path forward, and as a result, we can now look forward to getting together again for the Southway groundbreaking in 2020. For sure, Roger, right? I want to express my gratitude to Governor Ricketts' administration, including particularly Kyle Schneeweiss, the director of the Nebraska Department of Roads. They took what could have been a problem and helped create an opportunity instead. They have shown truly great leadership. I need to thank Mickey Esposito, our Director of Public Works and Utilities, and her team. Mickey's been working cheerfully and tirelessly with the state to help find a solution. And finally, a big thank you to, again, the people standing here. Our administration spoke to each of them in the not-too-distant past, and we had back and forth on what we wanted to accomplish, and each and every one of them has stepped forward to be a positive part of the solution by their support. So with that, let me introduce Deb Shore, first of all, who again is the chair of that joint group, the Railroad Transportation District. Deb is known for her steady hand and class act.
Well,
thank you, Deb.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. Again, I am Deb Shore, Chair of the Railroad Transportation Safety District and a member of the Lancaster County Board. Other RTSD board members are Commissioner Bill Avery, Councilman Roy Christensen, Commissioner Todd Wilchin, and then Councilwoman Jane Raybold. The RTSD has a long history of partnering with the City of Lincoln and other communities within Lancaster County to improve public safety. The RTSD plays a critical role in reducing the number of train, vehicle, and pedestrian conflicts. And the South Beltway design has 2 railroad crossings, the BNSF on the west end and the OPPD spur on the east end. The RTSD has been allocating $2.2 million each year since 2013 to plan for this project. We have prudently managed our funds to be able to add an additional $7 million for a total contribution of $20 million, without jeopardizing other projects, such as planned improvements to the 33rd and Cornhusker corridor. The members of the RTSD and the executive team have long been supportive of the South Beltway project, and we will be taking action on this agreement at our RTSD board meeting on Monday. I support this agreement, and it's great to be working as a team with the city and the state of Nebraska to make this project a reality. Warren?
Thank you. As chair of the council, I get to speak for all the council members in this, and we're very pleased that this agreement has come about. It's an important step for our community. The need is clear for our South Beltway. And it's been clear for a number of years, considering how many years we've been talking about it. We recognize the fact that, number one, Lincoln is a growing community, and we're growing by leaps and bounds, especially towards the south. And our traffic infrastructure needs the South Beltway. We've got a population now that we know is 280,000 people, and we have transportation needs that we need to expand our system. That's the first thing. And this will allow growth to the southern part of our city and development of property there, and increase our tax base and our prosperity as a community. Also, very importantly, to remind people, Highway 2 runs through the city of Lincoln and has a lot of heavy traffic on it. And over the past 20 years, there are a lot of crashes on this highway. But not only have there been a large number of crashes, but they have been very serious in nature because of the speeds involved and the size of the vehicles. And one of the important benefits the South Beltway will provide our community is to divert truck traffic to the south off of Highway 2 through our city, and it'll also then allow us to get a greater life out of Highway 2 as it's seeing less heavy use. So thank you again. This is a truly collaborative effort by the state, the county, and the city, and I appreciate working with all of these folks. And I'll turn it over to the chair of the county board, Todd Wilchin.
Thanks so much, Roy. In addition to what's already been said, I wanted to briefly speak about the financial benefits of the project. This deal represents the benefits when the city, county, and state officials work together with a common goal. There's no way to quantify how great the economic benefits of this project will be. In addition to creating good, paying jobs during the construction of the $300 million project, the South Beltway will benefit Lincoln and Lancaster residents, but it will also provide valuable savings to Nebraska's farmers, ranchers, and manufacturing community by allowing greater access to markets along I-29, including Kansas City and other cities across the lower Midwest and southeast parts. Those industries that rely on freight will no doubt realize cost savings that could be passed along to consumers. Not to mention the personal savings for improved traffic conditions for commuters that utilize Highway 2 and adjoining arterials. It's important to also acknowledge the support of Lincoln's business community, especially the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce and the Lincoln Independent Business Association. In addition, the governor and the Lancaster County delegation in the Nebraska legislature have been very supportive of this project. They protected the needed funding. But specifically, I want to mention that Senators Hilgers and Geist in the last legislative session prioritized legislation that will greatly benefit this project. So with that, we are all very grateful for the work that the mayor's done, his staff, working with the county. A few short years ago, there was some issues that conflict between the county and the city involving the RTSD funding. But working together, we've been able to resolve those issues, and we're on a path to be able to have a successful project. And so for that, we're very grateful for the mayor for his leadership. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Mayor Beitler. Thank you all.
Yeah, let me just be sure you've been introduced to everybody up front. Carl, will you introduce Carl Eskridge with our city council, our newest member of the city council, Vinnie Shaw. Let's see, everybody, and Roma Amundsen with the county board. Were you introduced? All right. Well, with that, Vicki, why don't you drop up front here with us and we'll answer questions. Unfortunately, John Camp, Cindy Lamb, And Marion Gaylord Baird and Jennifer Brinkman could not be here today, but I do want to thank them as well for their work and their support on this particular issue. And with that, we'll take questions.
So when will we be driving on it? Do you want to take it? Go ahead.
Well, I'm not sure it's going to be, as with all projects on this scale, that's a question best for the State Department of Roads, but I'm sure they're not going to be able to give you an explicit answer on that right now because the environmental study continues on, and that will have to be finished, and then beyond that, the schedule can be more firmly set, as I understand it. Do you care to add that?
Step to the microphone, please.
That's right. So it's a best question for the state, but they are currently getting their federal review done for their purpose and need. And as they go through that process, the next step will be to negotiate and acquire right-of-way, and utility relocations will obviously follow. So once they have those documents approved and in hand, they can develop that project timeline. So that's what they're working on.
If we break ground in 2020, and what's the estimated timetable?
The estimates, I would say, would be between 3 and 8 years. However, it is very much dependent on their priorities, their cash flows, how design comes along, so that it really is best answered by the state. But the best they could do is 3 years, but certainly it could be prolonged. Yeah.
Are you good to go? All right, thank you very much.